can you give us a brief introduction of yourself and what your job here at Clemson is?
Sure. So I actually don't work for Clemson University, but I sit on Clemson University's campus. My employer is the U.S. Forest Service, and I work in the research branch of the U.S. Forest Service, and we partner with universities. So that means I sit here on Clemson's campus, and I get to collaborate on fire ecology research with professors and graduate students, but Clemson doesn't pay me. Forest Service does. So, yeah.
Can you tell me a bit about your career path and how you got here?
Sure. So I have undergraduate and master's degrees from Clemson in forestry, forest resource management, and when I first started out, I knew I didn't want to go the timber route. I knew I wanted to be more ecology based. So when I finished here at Clemson, there was a technician position open here with the Forest Service in Clemson. So I moved straight into a position here on campus, and I've been here ever since. But over the years, I've worked my way through from a technician position to leading research crews to now managing a large initiative across the Appalachian region.
Can you tell me, or what are the qualifications for your job?
The qualifications for my job, well, initially it was just a bachelor's degree, and then the Forest Service said, well, we'll pay for you to get a master's degree while you work. That was too good of a deal to turn down, so I decided to do that. A large part of my job is wildland firefighting, and I also help run the Fire Tigers fire crew here on campus. So that piece does require some specific training. All wildland firefighters in the country are required to have a certain standard of training, and then I'm required yearly to refresh that training and to do a PAC test yearly to keep my qualifications current, and so that I can continue to teach undergraduate students with the Fire Tigers crew, but also so that I can continue to help on Forest Service fires or partner fires, or also to do prescribed fire. You have to have those same qualifications with the Forest Service to do prescribed fire.
So are you working on any big projects right now?
Yeah, so the biggest project we have is a new publication on a fuel photo series for the Appalachian region, and this helps our land managers in the field understand and see how much fuel is on the forest floor before they decide to do a prescribed fire. So that'll be really, really meaningful work for our land managers, those who are actually laying out prescribed burn units all along the Appalachians. All of that is based in research, so a lot of what I do is take research and translate it into a product that helps our land managers. Research papers aren't always something that our land managers like to pick up and read and use to get their work done on the ground. Sometimes it takes an intermediate type product. It takes taking the science and putting it in the right format, a usable format. So the Appalachian Fuel Guide is a long time coming, and we're very close to being finished with it, and a lot of folks are super excited about it because it'll help them assess fuels very quickly in the woods.
What are the biggest rewards of your job?
Seeing that science put to work, seeing great land management, seeing the application of prescribed fire in the right place at the right time to manage our lands and to help those that are doing that type of work do it more productively. To me, and having a mountaintop with a drip, or having an office on a mountaintop with a drip torch in my hand is always a plus. That anytime I can be outside, and that's a huge plus.
What skills do you think are most important for someone interested in a job like yours?
People skills. The ability to pull people together on topics and find a common ground, and find the science that's useful to the manager, and find the science that the manager needs on the ground, and translate that back to the scientists, because our scientists sometimes research things that really don't pertain to land management. So if the land manager can tell us this is what I need, then we're all being more productive. So we're opening this line of communication.
How did people get started in this career?
Well, forestry degree. For me, my role is a little different. It's not a straight out forester position. I mean, my title is forester, but it's not a straight out forester position. So for me, it's kind of evolved over the years into a pretty unique position. For that basic position that I started with, you need, an undergraduate degree and a will to work outside and a love for the outdoors, and also the ability to communicate effectively. I think all of those things are important for feeding into a natural resources degree. I keep going back to people, but we forget that in our natural resources world, that the people piece is just as big as the forest piece, that if we're not all communicating, no one's doing their job effectively. And sometimes that's a surprise, I think, to young foresters, that you can talk to the trees, but you got to talk to the people too. And sometimes that's a huge surprise. So and just being willing to be open-minded, to be on time, to be thoughtful, to just treat others with respect. All of those things play into working hard. All of those things play into your success and what you want to do and what direction that you can take it. Wildland firefighting looks a little different, and that's another piece of my job, that I don't necessarily have to have a college degree to be a wildland firefighter, but I do in my role. So my role overlaps in a lot of different ways, and to go just with any one of those, it looks a little different.
I think that's all the questions we have.
All right.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. No problem.
So the job we chose is a forester. So forester is a pretty common job once you get a forestry degree. There are many employers you can do. You can have a state employer, a federal employer. You can have a private employer. So for example, I printed out an ad for a federal job in South Dakota, and so the employer would be the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And for this certain job, it pays around $75,000 to $96,000 a year, depending on your experience. And that's not going to be the case for all forester jobs. Some jobs you won't get paid very much. Of course, once you come out of college, you're not going to be making six figures, but as you go on and have more experience, you'll be promoted. So this is a full-time forester job, and some requirements. Of course, you're going to have a 4-year degree from an accredited university. So as a Clemson undergrad, as long as you graduate, you will have that. And it's basic requirements. It wants you to just be familiar with or have taken some classes in management of renewable resources. And so a course that this would work for would be silviculture. Another course would be watershed management. Some of the responsibilities of this job, they want you to be able to, for this job, this isn't a job you're gonna get right out of college, but this is a job you need some experience for. You need to be able to assist in the development of long-range vegetation management plans and programs, including formulation of policies, objectives, and/or priorities, and the correlation and/or integration of timber plans into the overall land management plans. And so basically what that means is you're going to be managing a lot of property, and you need to have a plan for how you're going to manage this property. You can't just go in there and just look at the trees and be like, all right, this looks good to me. You need to go in with a plan. You have to be able to know, when do I harvest these trees? Is there something wrong with this plot? Is there a more effective way that we can grow this plot? So you just got to know your stuff. This is something you'll need some experience for. So another responsibility, evaluate adequacies, effectiveness of timber improvement programs through periodic and on-the-ground inspections of compliance, and establish policies, standards, programs, objectives, and or initiate corrective action. So this, like I said, is the timber stand growing how you want it to grow? Is there maybe a better way you could grow this one? And how would we get the most efficient yield from this timber plot? That's some of the responsibilities of this job, but there's a lot more. Like I said, you need experience. You can't go out of college right out of college and get a job like this. You need a couple years of experience. So right out of college, you can get a job. You could get an internship that counts as experience. You just need to be looking at that. Be looking at upcoming career fairs for your college and figure out what can I do once I get out of college. Or you need internships or CIs or something. That counts as experience too. So go to career fairs, get CIs, internships, it all counts as experience.